Kenya's government is facing a cash crunch. Salaries, roads, and key projects all need funding. But the National Treasury doesn't always have the money on hand. One tool now being used is securitization. Now tonight, NTV's Sylvia Kadhoni breaks down what securitization means and explain how it works.
So here's how securitization works in 4 steps. Identify revenue. Pick a predictable future revenue stream that could be taxes, levies, loan repayments. Bundle the revenue together. Group the payments into a single financial instrument. Sell to investors. Investors buy it, giving cash upfront. Repay investors. Future revenue pays back investors with returns.
In this office.
At the center of this process is a special purpose vehicle, or SPV, a legally separate entity created to collect the future revenue and repay investors.
I want you to understand, it's selling an asset. You have not borrowed, you have sold the rights. The person who is borrowing is that special purpose vehicle. Is going to borrow money to give you the money. It's like you have got money in advance on the basis of that 7 shillings. And to me, it's a practical, more realistic, more value for money approach.
In Kenya, several revenue streams have already been securitized, giving the government immediate cash to fund projects and clear bills. Legally, securitization is not unique to the government. Private companies use the same model to manage cash flows.
It gets the funding it needs upfront for receivables of a certain amount of time, and then it can then be able to use that money to be able to do other investments. So it allows you to get future revenues upfront.
But how does securitization compare to other financing tools?
As compared to a Eurobond, both of them have benefits that you kind of allows you to borrow at a less amount than what you typically be able to get from other sources. So, but largely, as you said, it's more of how they're used and for what they're used for. So if you use a Eurobond or a securitization to fund recurrent government expenditure, paying salaries and that type of thing, then you won't see the benefit of that because the cash will just be gobbled up and now that's future revenue coming in. But if it's then used for purposely, same thing with Eurobond, if they're then used for something which then generates more and more revenue for the government, then you can then be able to say, okay, fine, this has actually been used well.
For tax experts, transparency is what determines whether securitization builds trust or fuels public concern.
The same way that the KRA will or the Treasury will give tax expenditure reports annually, so that you can see that this is our tax expenditure this year, this is what we have forgone because of this. If we had such kind of transparency and being accountability, it would make the securitization an easier conversation and even more acceptable to most citizens.
Still, Beatrice warns securitization is not a long-term solution.
So if they are underperforming in future, then it would mean, assuming we're expected to pay, argument's sake, 100 million every month. In a certain month you undercollect, the government will have to come up with the shortfall. So where will the government get that money? Probably will get it from taxes or whatever was allocated for another need like healthcare or education. The government will have to make up for that shortfall because the obligation needs to be paid.
Securitization can unlock cash today, but it comes at the cost of tomorrow's revenue. Used carefully, it can ease short-term pressure. Used too often, it risks deepening the problem it's meant to solve.
In the securitization then.
Sylvia Kadhoni, NTV.